Hi, my name is Michael Becker, and welcome to the mCordis or Thought Leadership Series. And with me today is Liz Skalla from Skalla Consulting. And Liz brings a lot of incredible insights on how brands can leverage unique frameworks to be able to engage and interact with consumers. And so we brought her here today to share some of those thoughts. Welcome, Liz. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for having me.
So maybe we can start with, can you explain a little bit about your business and what is it, in fact, you do?
Sure. So I'm a marketing consultant, and we really focus on strategy, and we focus on the part of a business that really happens before you launch your product. So any type of business really needs to have these set pillars in place before they can be successful.
Fantastic. And when we were talking previously and setting up today's call, you talked about positioning and messaging being really important. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yep, absolutely. So oftentimes, we see it all the time. No matter what kind of company this is, they think they have a great idea. They know they have a great idea, and so they go to market with it. But what is incredibly important to keep in mind, and for companies to really do the due diligence on, is to dig deep into what are the true unmet wants and needs of the people that they're trying to reach with this problem that they're solving. And so a lot of times we'll see kind of broad positionings where companies are solving a problem, but it's not really that deeper, kind of sometimes hidden, huge unmet need of their key audience sets. And so that's what we really try and help companies do, is through different types of market research and analysis and critical thinking, find those huge, enormous opportunities that are unmet needs and wants of users that your competition isn't fulfilling, and that you could develop a product for and really compete strongly in your crowded marketplace.
And then once people have done that effort, they then can start developing a messaging strategy around that and then find the channels to engage and interact with the consumer.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So once we know what you are and who you're for, then we need to know and determine and develop how you're going to communicate to those people in a clear way that they find attractive yet easy to understand. Because it's often hard for us to see outside of the lens when we build companies. And so that's what me and my team try to do, is to really dumb down your positioning in this huge solution that you've created for your users, and really make it clear, but yet also very compelling. And so we develop this framework when it comes to messaging to ensure that the first message that your audience sees is either very easy to understand what you are, the exact problem you're solving for them. It's likable, it's memorable, and then what is that second message that your users are going to see, and how should those messaging properties play off of each other, so that completely it's a very comprehensive communication platform. And we actually go through and we develop the messaging properties for clients. And so then once we know what we're going to say to your users, then it's a matter of, okay, well, how are we going to reach them now? And that's really where a very tactical marketing plan comes into play. So together, positioning, messaging, and then your go-to-market strategy, it's all part of this comprehensive, fully robust marketing plan.
And is it more about, quote unquote, dumbing down and making less intelligent, or is it more about simplifying and becoming, in fact, more intelligent?
That's a really, really good point. Yes, it's definitely the latter. It's more about simplifying your compelling solution. Because again, sometimes as entrepreneurs and as founders of our products, we know exactly how the product works. We know this language, we know the terms, but often our users don't. So we just have to simplify it in a way that they'll understand it.
So it takes a lot of work. I remember the famous Mark Twain quote, in the sense where he says, "I apologize for the length of this letter because I didn't have the time to write it." And so it takes a lot of effort to create the positioning to be able to get those core ideas of why you matter to your ultimate customer, the people you serve, and to create the messaging to communicate with them that and selecting the appropriate channels. Is that not the case?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of market research, and more than anything, it's a lot of using past knowledge that we've gained through our own education and training, and working with dozens of other companies. Also, what's been incredibly interesting and valuable is me and my team can have this outside perspective when we look in at these different companies and we're working with our different clients, and that's been incredibly valuable in itself. But over the course of doing these projects over and over for companies, we've developed a formula, a framework for how we go about and deploy these positioning and messaging and marketing plan projects. in the most effective way for companies.
Well, and fantastic. Maybe you can share that with us later as a document that we can have as a corollary that goes with today's conversation.
Absolutely.
So, but this brings us to a really interesting point. You've talked about two companies specifically, Spot Hero and Pacifica, that are in the mobile app world that have leveraged this framework in a really successful way. Maybe you can explain each to us.
Absolutely. So I'll start with Spot Hero. So Spot Hero is a startup out of Chicago that I've admired for a couple of years now. They've done incredible work and have been really successful, and it's all been stemmed and come from smart positioning. So what they did was they looked at parking lot apps in the mobile app store. And as we know, there are hundreds. And most of these apps focus on helping customers find parking spots that are conveniently located to wherever they want to be parked, as well as the price of those parking lots. But what Spot Hero did is they dug deeper and they talked to people, and they really asked those hard questions. What is it actually that you really, really want that you're not getting from these mobile parking lot apps? And the true thing that people really want is they want the convenient location at the lowest price possible. And that really wasn't coming together with these other apps that were really just kind of more informational. And so what Spot Hero did was they took that insight and that knowledge of the unmet want, and they created their entire product on top of that. And they created this marketplace where parking lot attendants can rent out unused parking spots at a discounted price for users to rent by the hour, by the day. And so they created this Airbnb model that's been incredibly successful, but more than anything, it has completely aligned with the unmet want and need of users, of people. And so their entire platform was based off of that position.
And that positioning, the insight was really about, again, convenience and price, and bringing the two together.
Bringing the two together, which was really huge. Yes, all about connecting those two in one simple, easy to use, fun app.
Fantastic. And what about Pacifica?
So Pacifica was a company that I was lucky enough to do a little bit of work for, and they were really clever, and a lot of it stems from positioning as well. So there are hundreds of mental health, de-stress, de-anxiety mobile apps in the App Store, and most of them focus on very specific methods. So there are apps that are specifically for meditation, or specifically for breathing exercises, or specifically for drawing, because people deal with anxiety and treat their anxiety in different ways. There are different ways that help people feel better and good throughout the day. And so what Pacifica did was they really studied the users and the use cases and how people are using these apps, and read feedback of their of users of these apps, and really dug deep, used the products themselves, talked to users and non-users alike. And what they found is that people really sometimes don't often know what is the best self method for their own anxiety and stress and how to relieve that. And so what Pacifica did, which was really smart, is they decided, let's create an app that includes all of these methods, but in a really fun, not overcomplicated, easy way. And so they developed their entire product off of that value proposition. And they've been incredibly successful doing it.
Fantastic. So going forward and looking into the future, where do you see, or what are the few things that you feel like in the kind of that intersection of digital, social, mobile, branding, positioning, messaging should companies be focusing on?
That's a really good question. So I think, I tell my clients this all the time. Everything stems from positioning, whether you're mobile, whether you're social, digital, or even a tangible product, unmet want or need. And those are really where the huge and very interesting opportunities are for companies. And as users start to use products in a different way, shop in a different way, receive and collect information in a different way through all of these Internet of Things devices, and as devices become more connected, entrepreneurs and companies are going to have to understand that people are changing, and how we reach them and how we solve their unmet wants and needs are changing. So it's just about continuing to understand people and really keep a pulse on people and what they want and need.
And putting that person at the center of everything you do.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, that's a fantastic way to kind of end this session, and we really look forward to inviting you back and having you share additional thoughts with us as time goes on.
Thanks, Michael. This was really fun. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Take care.